Hey, everybody, and welcome back to Elongate, the cryptocurrency that is fueling social impact for the future. My name is Alex, and I'm joined by Nick and Hassan, our tech team. You've tuned into our Tuesday live stream, and we're going to get an update from the gentlemen themselves on exactly what is going on and where we're headed on the tech side of this beautiful endeavor. So, Hassan, Nick, thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks, seeing you.
Yeah, absolutely. So I want to just kick things off by jumping into the nitty gritty. So as a lot of people are aware, there was a token error that occurred over the weekend. And we released a response and then a fix, a plan for a fix after 24 hours. So if you could just give us a rundown of exactly what happened and what the fix looks like for everybody.
Okay, yes. So this turned out to be it was a very simple change, which turned out to be a very big problem. So the weekend was, let's say, not fun at all. It was a very, very long day for most of the tech team, especially guys on the front line as well. Uh, just want to start off by saying it's absolutely not okay to have tokens disappearing from your wallets. But we just want to say that we have no part in that in a way that we don't have access to your wallets or to your tokens. There was a change done to make the Burn wallet a shareholder in getting reflections as part of the Autoburn, and that's what the community voted as part of the community vote platform that we had. Now, we have done this change many times before, where including or excluding wallets from getting reflections is a very, very normal part of our day-to-day operations. When we talk about, excluding bots which are getting reflections, or they are getting a lot of, reflections based on an exploit, we used to blacklist them. If there's a central exchange which is coming on board, and they have a lot of tokens, we used to blacklist them as well, just to make sure they don't take away your reflections. So this change technically was a very simple change to say that the wallet, which is dead wallet, is going to be now a part of the reflections. So we turned it on, and there was no hint in the code at all as to what the side effects could be, right? And the change went through smoothly. The dead wallet started getting reflections, but what we didn't anticipate, and what I can't really wrap my head around still, is how the contract is coded in the back end to say that if you include the dead wallet as a shareholder, it does not start getting reflection from this point onwards. It basically ensures that it gets a piece of the pie since the beginning of the project. So when we turned on auto burn, the burn wallet decided that I am the biggest holder. I need all the reflections which are entitled to me, and I'm going to take it from day one onwards. So we didn't have any reserves that it could dip into. So it essentially dipped into the wallets of every single holder and took what it rightly deserved according to the smart contract. And everybody had tokens deducted. And that includes all of the investors. That includes me, you, Alex, everybody on the staff, everybody on the volunteers. So I just want to put this on record straight that it was not only a few people who were affected by this, it affected absolutely everybody. Now, there's two things that we did. First was to recognize there was an issue, and second was to jump on Telegram chat to make sure that we are still here. This is not a rug pull. We have just not done something illegal, and we are running away. But our hands were tied in terms of the solution. So we can't mint more tokens on BSC, so we can't give it back to you. Majority of our circulating supply is locked in PancakeSwap, as most people know. So we can't take liquidity out, turn them into tokens and distribute it. So that's not a solution as well. The burn process itself cannot be reversed. So once tokens go inside the burn wallet, they are there forever. So burn wallet is a holder like any other holder. The only special thing is there's no private keys. Nobody can enter a private key into Trust Wallet or MetaMask and download the contents of the Burn wallet and then essentially send tokens to whoever they like. It does not work like that. So that process can't be reversed. We don't have access to the Burn wallet to take tokens out. So that's a no-go. and we didn't have enough tokens in reserve to compensate everybody. So we had to think of a solution which was, good enough to make people whole again. And it took us a bit of time to do that. But according to me, that is the best solution that we have available on the market and also technically, which allows us to get all the tokens back to people. Yes, I know it's not on the same blockchain. It's on a different blockchain, but it is the same token. And yes, there will be gas fees involved, but from our side, we've tried to minimize it as much as we could. So when you are on the bridge and you want to put tokens across, there will be a chance for us to make the fees as less as possible, and we'll absolutely make sure that we do that. Now, in the run up to that bridge, while we create that bridge and create this solution, if there is a chance or a technical solution which presents itself, which makes it even better of a solution to get tokens back to the investors, we'll absolutely do that. But for now, it was very important for us to say that there is a solution so people can be a bit relieved that they will get their tokens back. And if we do come across a solution which is better on the same blockchain somehow, we will absolutely implement that. But I've just done a post today on the forum as well, highlighting how the bridge would work and how the token transfer will work. So hopefully that gives people a bit of an insight as to what we have planned. But essentially, the bridge is in plan to Ethereum, to also to Matic. So both of these are coming. We want to exist on different blockchains. But just to say that, this is a side effect of a change that we did. We had absolutely no clue this would go on. If we did, this still would never have been made possible. But these things happen in software development. We've seen it across our industry and in software development generally across the world as well, where issues like this happen. What's more important is that how you react to it. And I'm absolutely blown away by the way people reacted within staff to first recognize the issue and secondly, jump on board on the front lines to say, yes, there is an issue. We'll absolutely make sure it's resolved. The team is working on it. And now we are very, very close to releasing a form, and we can confirm that as well. So basically, there will be a form made available on our website, and that pulls data straight from the blockchain. So we know exactly the time that the burn happened, and we know exactly the time when the tokens were removed from your wallet. So we'll take a snapshot and we'll back it up with blockchain data. We will code the exact block number to say, at this point in time, this is how much tokens you had in your wallet. Then the burn happened, which is this block here. And then after the burn, according to this block, this is exactly how many tokens you were left with. So this is the remainder tokens which are missing that we owe back to you. And as part of, making sure that you get all the tokens back, we will keep an eye on the volume from now till the token airdrop happens. And whatever deflections that are owed to you based on that 10% missing from your wallet, we will top that up in your wallet as well.
Yeah, all right, Hassan, thank you so much for that explanation. I think that was extremely thorough, so I appreciate that. Yeah. I want to look at accomplishments. So looking back at the past month and the time between you guys spoke on this live stream up until now, where's the focus been? What are some of the accomplishments we want to brag about? I know we can't talk about absolutely everything because over the next couple of weeks, we're going to be rolling out some announcements on social media, but what can we talk about?
Yeah, so before I start in that path, I can confirm that the form that Hassan just mentioned will be released sometime tomorrow, maybe Eastern time, latest around the evening. We'll try to do it as fast as we can to complete it. We are doing some QA now. We just want to make sure that we have a form that is solid with that everything in the backend, because it's a development product essentially that we had to develop in a couple of days. So we'll release that. You will be informed using through social media. So you'll know that, and it's actually very nice. It's a nice form. It's straightforward. You know exactly what Hassan mentioned. Okay. So now in terms of development, so I think last time it was a month ago since we've met together, and I was talking about the foundational things that we worked on, right, in terms of the platform, those APIs, and all the stuff that is happening in the backend. And for us to actually do because since Elongate is not just a token, we need to now build use cases on top of that. So we needed to have that foundation, right? So now that the foundation is set up, is done, we had started working also on product, and slowly we are starting to release a few sneak peeks of what we are working on. And you have seen it. The community has seen those announcements. They have reacted very nicely about those announcements, and more to come. So we are completely focusing right now on use cases in order to give. So I'll explain, right? Use cases that will make the volume add more volume, which will increase the price of the token, give value to Elongate, and make sure that the social impact is being addressed as well. So all of these use cases, we are working 24/7, right, on those use cases, and yeah, so the team is working very hard, and hopefully we can release a few things very soon.
Thanks, Nick. And looking forward at where we're going to be going, let's start with Hassan. You posted something on the forum today about plans for smart contract upgrades, solutions for doing bridges. Talk to me a little bit about that. What can you distill that down to layman's terms?
Okay, so I think I wanted to be technical so people understand that we know what we are talking about, and it's just not a copy and paste from somewhere. That we totally understand the way a smart contract works, what are the pitfalls, what are the issues, and what improvements can be made. So hopefully that gives people a bit of flavor as to what exactly is in the plan. So yeah, if you can share that, we can look at it together. So yes, let me open it up on my big screen here as well, because it's quite small there. Okay, so yeah, basically broken it down to what are the limitations of our current contract and how we can really improve it. When we go cross-chain, it's very, very important that the product that we have is robust enough to live up to making sure that we take advantage of all the advanced features which are available on this blockchain. So there were a lot of issues with our current smart contract. It is obviously a copy of a fork of another project, the BRFI protocol. Again, SafeMoon and all the other tokens similar to that are have the same code base. And people were very reluctant to change the code base because, as you can see from the burn wallet and what happened, there's there's things which are hidden and which are not very clear, and the code quality is not that great as well. So here's an opportunity for us, because we are deploying it for the first time, that we can really make sure these mistakes can be fixed. So if you go to number one again, I'll quickly talk about everything briefly. So the current issues that we have with our contract is that the liquidity which is added to every time there's a swap and liquefy. So basically, the way our contract works is that every time there's a buy, sell, or transfer, there's a 10% fee, right? Everybody knows that. So the 5% goes to the contract, and the 5% goes to the holders as a reflection. So that 5% which goes to the contract goes to the contract as elongate tokens. And when it reaches a value of 500 billion elongate accumulated in the contract, it swaps half of that to BNB. And those BNB come from the actual Pancake swap pool. And that goes against the constant product formula based on which all of these liquidity pools work. So it's not a very efficient way to add liquidity, and we can really improve that. So just by looking at that one line of code, you can see that the contract overall is not really working in a very efficient manner if it breaks one of the key principles of Uniswap DEX, right? So here's our chance to improve that. So we are going to fix that bug. Number two is that the liquidity pool was not excluded from rewards. We fixed that, and I made a forum post about it, but when we go to Ethereum or other blockchains, that will also be fixed by default. There were lots of hard-coded values, as for example, the PancakeSwap router is hard-coded. So you would know this, and people who are early investors will also know that when PancakeSwap moved from version 1 to version 2, most of our liquidity was locked in V1. And that's something we couldn't change. And because PancakeSwap stopped supporting V1, it was a very, very big pain for us to come up with liquidity on PancakeSwap V2, and secondly, have enough there to make sure our projects run smoothly. We still have liquidity locked on V1 for investors' benefit, but this is just for the scenario that PancakeSwap come next month and say, we have a version 3 now. So, we are stuck again. So with this configuration, we can change that value anytime. So given that Uniswap or any other DEX changes their router configuration, we are able to cope with that. Number 4 is about CertiK audit issues. There were a lot of issues which were mentioned in the audit, which were just minor or medium, and we're just going to go and fix all of them because it's just better that when a third party highlights some issue about you and you have a chance to fix them, that you do so. It's a responsible thing to do, and we want to take this opportunity to do that. And there's lots of improvements that we are making as well. So Alice, if you can scroll down to number 5. So we are also adding flexibility as to how the fee is applied. So currently it's 10%, but down the line, if you want to make that adjustable to some other value based on market conditions, we'll be able to do that. We are also making it very configurable, so you can base it based on sell, transfer, or buy amount. So now, at the moment, when you buy, sell, or transfer, you charge a 10% fee. So it's either a 10% fee for all of them or none of them. So you can't configure based on individual buys, sells, or transfers. So what we are doing now is that adding that configuration based on which you can charge different fees on buys, sells, or transfers. Not saying that's going to happen on day one, but it gives us the flexibility to do that if we need it down the line. And the most important for me would be number 7, is that the way the liquidity is added currently is really not good to the long-term viability of our project and how things run, right? So we are going to change that. So now the way liquidity will be added would every time that swap and liquefy function triggers, and it will trigger at a value that we decide. It's not going to be hard-coded to 500 billion elongate. We will set a threshold based on market volume, and when the threshold is reached, the contract will buy elongate tokens to add liquidity, and that will result in green candles, and it will register as a buy on the contract. So again, it's a very healthy way to do things instead of what we have right now. We are also making the deflection percentage configurable. So currently it's 5% to the contract, 5% to holders. Again, it's a hard-coded value. If you want to change that percentage because the project needed it, we can change those deflection values to be something else apart from 50-50. The smart contract is going to be upgradable smart contract. So as you know, on Binance Smart Chain, our contract is immutable. It cannot be changed. Once it's deployed, you have to live with it. But upgradable smart contracts are the new thing in DeFi now. So we are going to make sure that we also make use of that functionality. So our smart contract on other blockchains will always be upgradable. So if there's a new thing comes along or some new way of doing things better, we can always change our code. And with the community's permission, we can make some changes and deploy those changes to live environments. Again, lots of testing, lots of documentation required. There will be an audit done as well to make sure that there's nothing wrong about this new contract because it's totally different to our original one. So a new audit is due. So we'll be doing all of that. And then at the end, I've got some end-to-end journeys which basically explain the whole scenario from how a user buys all the way till the end where you get reflections or the elongate tokens end up in users' wallets. And lastly, towards the end, I've got a bit of information on the bridge. So again, it's a very innovative solution that we are proposing. It's just not going to be like any other bridging solution out there, which our competitors and even the biggest BSC token is using. So they use a lock and mint functionality, which is very, very risky because you are trusting a third party to mint tokens on your behalf. So essentially what you do with normal bridges is that you lock your tokens on the BSC side and the bridging contract, which is a third party, that makes new tokens on the other side. If a bad actor or a hacker exploits the bridging contract and gets access to it, they can burn all your tokens or they can mint billions of new tokens, dump them on the market, and basically that would be the end of your tokens economy. So we don't want to go down that route, although it's a very simple thing to do. But we don't want to do that because what we are doing and proposing is the right solution. So with our solution, it will be a very simple 5-step process to take your tokens over. The benefits are that we are in control of the liquidity. Nobody can exploit that. Nobody can hack that. It's the same as we control liquidity on our debts. The same way we'll control liquidity on the bridge as well. It's going to be much, much faster. So even if you use the official Binance Smart Chain bridge, taking your Binance BEP20 tokens over to ERC20 tokens takes you half an hour to 1 hour. But with this bridging solution, it will be a matter of minutes. So, arbitrage, as we know, is a very, very good thing for investors, and we look for arbitrage opportunities to get personal benefit out, which is absolutely fine to do because that's how you balance markets, right? And if you see that there's an arbitrage opportunity on Ethereum where the price is like 20% less, and if it takes you 1 hour to port your tokens over, that's not really an advantage to you, right? But if you can really port your tokens over to another blockchain within minutes and then make a profit and eventually balance out the market, that's a very good thing for your token because it increases volume and makes sure that investors can take a benefit of this opportunity. So it's going to be much faster. It's going to be much simpler. The gas fees are there. And the other benefit that we have is that it's not going to be deposited blindly. So once you do take them over to the bridge, the solution will actually tell you what the fees are at this point in time. So if the fees are ridiculously high, and you know that's not something you want to pay, you don't have to withdraw the tokens on the other side. You can leave them with the bridge and come back to it later. And we know that the Asian hours are much cheaper gas-wise, and you can track them online on websites where it will tell you that the best time to withdraw on ERC20 is like 2 a.m. Singapore time, for example. And you can just go back during those time periods and withdraw your tokens with less gas fees. So that's one of the benefits of our bridge. So hopefully that gives you an overview as to what we are proposing. But if anybody wants to dive a bit more deeper into it, the forum post has all the technical details.
I got a question for you, Hassan. If a user has tokens on BSC and the Ethereum version of the contract gets these upgrades for better efficiency and better healthy growth in the long term, will arbitrage effectively make it so that my tokens on the BSC see that value as well? Or would I want to hold my tokens on Ethereum in order to see that value?
So when we launch for the first time, we'll obviously provide liquidity on the DEX, which is Uniswap, and we will start with the initial price. And based on how market conditions are, that price might not go up and down as effectively as it is on the BSC side. So there might be some opportunities that investors can take advantage of. But overall, as we've seen other tokens who've done multiple blockchain deployments, that overall the price balances itself out. We saw that within when we went to exchanges like Bitmart and LBank, right? There was a price difference from PancakeSwap, and over time this has balanced out. So there will be opportunities, but it's the same token, and over time it will balance itself out.
Awesome. Which, in other words, means that the token health that the upgrades bring the Ethereum side will also translate into a buoyant effect on the BSC side. So because they'll sync up. Great. There's a couple good questions here I wanted to toss to you guys, both for Nick and Hassan. It's a great one here. I'll ask Nick first. Which of the codename projects are you most excited for?
Okay, so we are day 2 today.
Yep. So we released the graphic of the list of code names.
True.
So which of those names, right? Don't give any details yet, but which of those names are you most excited for?
Yeah. He's thinking hard.
No, actually, I do know. I think so. So most of them, I'm on the technical side of things, I'm familiar. There's one that is really, really challenging, and I'm really looking forward to take further to from where it is today. And it's the stretched one. I think this one is going to be interesting. Yeah,
that's the same one I was going to say. I was going to say the one I'm looking most forward to is Stretch.
Yeah,
and you'll get more details about that. Hassan, how about you?
Oh, I'm tied. I don't have a favorite. There's too many things that I really like about all different products that we are going to be launching. But I think the best thing for me is that even though we are talking about this ecosystem, and we are talking about this as different products. In the end, they all sync together and they come together as an ecosystem. And the elongate token would be the governing factor, which will be the common denominator across all of these things. And the way we tie all of these things together so they work in sync is the most beautiful thing for me. So yeah, there'll be a lot of technical development required, but the vision is great. But even though you think of them as standalone products, in the end, it will be one large ecosystem.
So your favorite part of the ecosystem is the token itself, in other words.
Absolutely.
Good answer. Good answer. What else do we have to look forward to? Anything else you guys want to chat about in addition to the smart contracts and bridging that you talked about already?
Yes, I do want to talk about it, but I don't want to give away my speech at Crypto Expo Dubai because that's where I want to talk about most of these things. But we are releasing information bit by bit to the community. It's just fun and games. Obviously, everything will be revealed very soon. We just want to make sure that we use the opportunity on one of the biggest platforms, that we have available to us very soon to really announce these products. So you'll get to hear about it, and so will the audience over there. But there's nothing that we are, overhyping. We are treating all of these as serious technical projects that we are working on. We are past the stage of overhyping, something that we are not really working on. And as you know by now, there's lots of development happening in the back end, and we will be releasing information to you as soon as possible. But we would really want to make sure that we announce it on the right time. And I think the stage of Crypto Expo Dubai is where it should be done properly.
Yep. And Paul says, will you be able to share all these details at the conference? Yes. By the time we get to the conference and deliver the keynote, all those details will be out there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's see. Any other questions you guys saw jump out at you from the chat, or anything else you wanted to touch on before we go?
Let me see if there's something here.
No, I mean, I myself, on the tech guys, I just want to make sure that everybody is patient with us. We are working nonstop, so just have fun. I know it's hard to wait, but just have fun with with Elongate at the moment. Give us the room to do what we have to do, and you won't regret it. I probably shouldn't say that. I don't know if you won't regret it, but just have fun with it.
Yep. It really is like, it's a startup, right? It's a startup, and it feels amazing to be able to trailblaze in a sense, right? Kind of set precedents in all these areas, more than we've even revealed, right? Precedents that we're going to be setting for crypto, for social impact, for everything in between those two. So it's definitely a journey. And as a startup, a lot of this is just beta, right? And so development happens in the background, and we'll share exactly what we can share when we can share it. So we're very excited, and we're very grateful to the entire community for being along for the ride and supporting us as we do it. It's definitely a lot of fun and hard work.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just want to add that we were not given something like it was not a smart contract which is revolutionary, right? There's so many smart contracts like this out there. We really had to think hard about making a solid product out of it. And anybody can do a central listing, exchange listing. Anybody can create a DEX. Anybody can do staking or farming or whatever you name it. They are all DeFi products and services that you can either build yourself or get somebody else to build for you. What most people are not doing is surviving 6 months in these kind of markets, still having a team of 40 plus full-time staff,
right.
and also coming up with brilliant ideas and solutions, which are not just great on their own right, but they actually integrate with crypto and DeFi in general. And to come up with so many products as we are going to be talking about, and then connecting them all together under one token is going to be something really awesome when it is revealed. And we don't know what the future holds, right? We are a startup. We can think of an idea of a vision, and we can do our best to deliver it, but only time will tell how the market reacts to it. But we are very excited to be working on these, and for such a young company and for such a new company as well in this space to be thinking along these lines is absolutely massive. In my experience, I haven't done or seen anything like this, and the opportunity here is huge. And we are going to try our best to grab it with both hands.
Opportunity is huge, and I'm so impressed by the whole team with what we've been able to do so far and the internal roadmap we have with what we want to do. And then on top of that, to be able to have the expertise and the vision on the team to take this relatively standard smart contract and see a clear path to upgrade it into something really, really robust and long term is amazing. There's a couple questions here. There's a few questions that I've seen along this topic that says, do we have strong plans to reduce supply? So I think the answer is that naturally over time supply is reduced by burns, right? But we cannot be too overzealous in the current moment in terms of chasing a reduced supply, because we need that supply to facilitate all these different spin-offs of EG, like the bridges and exchanges. Is that right?
But I think Hassan, that question is not Hassan. Well, Hassan and Alex, that question is almost linked to it's more like a consolidation, which has been pretty popular the last few days. So I'm not quite sure exactly. Actually, maybe I should probably let Hassan answer this one, but yeah.
And coming down to that level is very, very drastic. We don't know what the side effects of that would be. It's never been done before, especially with smart contracts like this, which have 9 decimal places. So I know people throw around these numbers without even knowing what the repercussions are. And we have to be very careful when we talk about things like this, right? Because if you disrupt this economy without knowing what the actual end result is, you are putting yourself in a situation that you don't know how you're going to come out of it. So we know for once that the exchanges that we are on are robust enough to take us to a 650 million plus market cap. We know with the biggest tokens on BSC that tokens who have 9 decimal places can reach a billion plus market cap and still be okay with their large circulating supply. So that's a good thing to know. So we don't have to drastically reduce supply to 1 trillion or be on hundreds of exchanges to become successful. We just need to provide our utility and ensure that we are on the right track, and gives investors some confidence that we are here for the long term, and the products and services that we are building will have real value and use to people out there in the real world. And only then you'll have confidence, and then bigger exchange listings will come, and a token supply would be reduced as well gradually over time. But yes, let's not throw around these numbers which we don't know are possible or not. The main thing which will take us back to that all-time high is proving the utility of a token, and we are really, really working hard to prove that.
There's a question here that I can answer from Daniel that says, when we receive our tokens, how would we differentiate between tokens in BSC or tokens in ETH? It's a good question. It's a very simple answer. I'll just use MetaMask as an example. If you keep your tokens in MetaMask, there's a drop down in the browser extension that shows you what network you're currently viewing. So on any given wallet, you can view you can view it through the Ethereum network, or you can view it through the BSC network, or any other network you set up. So if you're currently viewing your Elongate wallet through the BSC network, the only thing you have to do is just change that drop down to the Ethereum mainnet, and you'll be viewing your tokens through that network, and any tokens you have on Ethereum network will show up there. When staking?
I'm not sure about the Lambo part, but yeah, staking is something which is definitely in the pipeline. But with all these different products that we are developing, it's taken a back seat for now, to be honest. Especially with the issue that has happened, we need liquidity to provide to the bridges. We also need as many tokens as we can to give back to the users. So if we tie all of our funds that we have available in a staking smart contract, we lose access to them. So our main priority is to get this issue resolved. And we have a solution, and we are working towards it. But I don't want to get rid of all the liquidity that we have, which is not huge, to be honest, and give that away in a staking contract for now. The priority for people as we can see from social media and the messages we get from contact us page, is that they want their tokens back as soon as possible. Some people can't even wait for 90 days, even though it's 10% of their portfolio. We absolutely get that. 90 days was just a guideline. If you can do it before that, we are all systems go to achieve that as soon as possible. But that's our first target, to ensure that you get your tokens back. And the second is to really kick off with our development and showing that off to you as soon as possible. So staking is a very small price to pay if it comes later, but absolutely it's in the pipeline.
Awesome. Well, it's been nearly 37 minutes here. We've had some really amazing information drop. So before we sign off and get back to work, any final thoughts from either of you?
Yeah, I'll go first. So yeah, it was a very tough week for us. I mean, there were tough weeks in this project for those who have been involved since day one. But yeah, we haven't seen something like this for a very long time. And I just want to say this to the community, that, you know, I have your attention, that these things will happen, right? We are not here to rug pull or scam you. And what was disappointing and to see for most of the staff members was that, you know, people put their heart and soul into it. They are available 24/7, answering your questions, being there to support you. And the first moment something goes wrong, and the reaction is that we have been rug pulled. It's a scam. Dev team or leadership have taken my tokens away. And, you know, we haven't done anything in the past to give you any indication that something like that is possible. We have done audits, we have locked away liquidity, we have doxed ourselves, we are legally incorporated. So when things like that happen, please take a step back and think what we have achieved so far and put it down to maybe there's something wrong or an issue has happened that the team will fix, and they will make sure that I am compensated properly, instead of doubting our ability, doubting us that we have bad intentions. So that disheartens the staff, and that puts our morale down as well. And you don't definitely want that as investors, right? So you want the team firing on all engines. You don't want them disheartened or disappointed. So your words are very, very important, and your support is important too. So please be very careful as to what you say. I know in the heat of the moment, people say all sorts of things, but you just need to look at our journey so far and really take everything into account before you say something or accuse people of doing something.
Thank you, Hassan. Yeah, I can definitely say that community words are very, very powerful, and morale is such an important thing. Nick, any final thoughts?
No, I mean, it would be to just, again, go back and have fun, look at the news that we are, you know, those sneak peeks. Please share them with people, you know, people who love crypto. So, you know, just have fun. The next few days will be very interesting. So stay tuned.
Absolutely. Consider anything we put on social media designed to be shareable. So please share it. Hassan, Nick, thank you so much for your time. Let's get back to work, shall we?
All right. Thank you, Alex.
Do it.
Take
All
care.
right. Thanks, guys.
Nice.
Bye-bye.
Bye.